Oh yeah, sorry. This is the real intro song.
Fish, drive my boat, eat some kids, commit some offshore human trafficking. I just wanna cut my grass, play some COD, blackmail a dude, send another $1 million to Ned and Yahoo.
Hell yeah. That's the jam, dude. That is this is also the jam. He's not here anymore. No está aquí. No está. No te puede oír. Cannot hear you. It's like the Peanuts game. They lost me a long time ago, actually. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just get to the news, I guess. Amy, please. Oh, look, it's Killary.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org.
What is going on with my PC? Everything's...
Or the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. U.S. and Iranian officials have concluded another round of indirect talks over Iran's nuclear program without a breakthrough, though a mediator cited significant progress in the Geneva negotiations. Iran's foreign minister said afterwards further technical talks are scheduled for next week in Vienna, the home of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and that progress toward a deal had been good. The talks came after President Trump assembled the largest fleet of warplanes and aircraft in the Middle East in decades, ahead of possible U.S. strikes on Iran, even though Congress has not authorized
no one's ever seen the likes of it.
Pakistan's defense ministry declared an open war against Afghanistan's Taliban government as it launched cross-border attacks and airstrikes on the Afghan capital, Kabul. Pakistani officials claimed their attacks killed 133 Taliban fighters, while the Afghan government claimed its counterattacks killed 55 Pakistani soldiers. 13 civilians were reportedly killed in a refugee camp near the Torkham border crossing, including women and children, with several others wounded.
Something fell, and I thought it had landed on top of our tent. My wife's hand was injured badly, and my nephew was injured too. Both are now lying in the hospital in critical condition.
The escalation follows weeks of violence along Pakistan's 1,600-mile-long border with Afghanistan. The fighting has largely shut land border crossings, worsening Afghanistan's already dire humanitarian crisis. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says another round of negotiations with Russia will likely take place in Abu Dhabi in early March. His remarks came after U.S. and Ukrainian officials wrapped up talks in Geneva Thursday, where they discussed post-war reconstruction and an economic package for Ukraine. Ahead of the talks, Russia launched a massive drone and missile attack against multiple cities in Ukraine, wounding 23 people, including a child. This is a resident whose apartment building in Zaporizhzhia was attacked by Russia.
It's been 4 years and they still haven't ended the war. We want this. We want them to reach an agreement, but there are no agreements. And now we don't know where to go or what to do. Our apartment is completely ruined.
A congressional committee is deposing former President Bill Clinton today over his connection to serial sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This comes after former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton denied ever meeting Epstein or knowing of his crimes during separate closed-door testimony to the House Oversight Committee Thursday, which the former Secretary of State and presidential candidate denounced as partisan political theater. Hillary Clinton
Yes.
spoke to
Hold on.
reporters in
Hold on. Didn't the Clintons? Didn't they say they were like, yeah, put us on there. As a matter of fact, make it public. And they're like, we got nothing to hide. And she like the only thing she goes up there and says, she's like, oh yeah, I never met the guy. I don't know anything actually. No. I was just, that was my husband's friend. Never saw him. Bill Epstein? I don't even know how to pronounce his name, actually. This, did Lauren Boebert fumble this hearing? I don't know it, because the Lauren Boebert news was bigger than what actually came out, right? This is like, when the emails were leaked, and that's all we ever heard about was the emails that were leaked, and the security and on the server and all, but it was never about what was in the emails, because that was far more devastating than what was actually a security issue. The security issue would be Hillary and her cohorts conspiring to kick off the Ukrainian war. That would be actual headline news, but we never talk about that because we always somehow the media just runs with the secondary option and controls the narrative that way. Weird.
Chappaqua, New York, after her closed-door deposition, which she had called to be open.
I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. But whatever they
didn't even know her name was Ghislaine. I thought it was Dwayne.
They asked me, I did my very best to respond.
Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have called on President Trump to also be deposed following mounting reports that key documents related to a woman who accused Trump of assaulting her while she was a minor are missing from the Justice Department's release of the Epstein files.
Almost like it's just a cover-up. It's just a cover-up, right?
Congressman Robert Garcia.
Crazy.
This committee has now set a new precedent about talking to presidents and former presidents. And we're demanding immediately that we ask President Trump to testify in front of our committee and be deposed in front of oversight Republicans and Democrats.
We'll have more on the Epstein files after headlines with investigative journalist Barry Levine, author of The Spider, Inside the Tangled Web of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. In Gaza, Israeli drone attacks on 2 police stations killed at least 6 Palestinians overnight. One attack struck police posts in the Barej refugee camp in central Gaza. The other hit a police checkpoint in the Al-Mawasi area of Khan Yunis. Palestinian officials say Israel's violated the U.S.-brokered ceasefire that began last October more than 1,600 times, killing over 600 Palestinians. Meanwhile, Israel's continuing attacks on southern Lebanon in violation of a November 2024 ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah. Lebanese officials reported 13 Israeli airstrikes on Thursday, including an attack on the Bekaa Valley that killed a 16-year-old Syrian boy. In New Jersey, a dangerous car...
They're just constantly... They've been just constantly bombing Lebanon for the past 2 weeks at least, consistently. And I think it's, because they know once they gear up for war with Iran, if everything completely and totally pops off, then it's also going to be war with Hezbollah again. And they don't want that.
Chase involving ICE agents who attempted to make an arrest Thursday ended in a multi-vehicle crash in Newark that left 3 children injured. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka condemned ICE's operation as reckless, saying New Jersey state law prohibits law enforcement from engaging in car chases unless there's an immediate threat. In a statement on social media, Mayor Baraka said, quote, based on the damage they're inflicting on our communities, ICE has no business engaging in chases at any time, anywhere, but especially in densely populated areas and on roads still being cleared from a significant snowstorm, he said. Mayor Baraka was arrested last year while protesting outside the troubled New Jersey Delaney Hall ICE jail. The charges were later dismissed. Here in New York, a Columbia undergraduate student detained by ICE agents who used false pretenses to get into her off-campus residential building was released hours later after Mayor Zoran Mamdani intervened with President Trump at his meeting at the White House.
Wow.
Eli Agiyeva, who's from Azerbaijan, was arrested Thursday morning when ICE agents entered the building without a warrant under false pretenses. Colombia's acting president, Claire Shipman, said security cameras captured the agents in the hallway showing pictures of an alleged missing child. Agiyeva posted about her arrest early that morning on Instagram saying, quote, "DHS illegally arrested me. Please help." We'll have more on this story later in the broadcast. Agiyeva's release from ICE custody came shortly after New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani appealed directly to President Trump as he made his second visit to the White House since his historic election victory in November. On Thursday, Mamdani also gave White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles a list of 4 current and former students targeted by federal immigration authorities and asked the administration for help on dismissing their cases. They are Mahmoud Khalil, Yunseo Chung, Mohsen Madawi, and Laka Cordia, all detained after they joined pro-Palestine protests. Laka Cordia is the only one who remains detained nearly a year after her arrest at an ICE jail in Texas. We'll speak with Columbia graduate student Mohsen Madawi later in the broadcast. At the White House, Mayor Mamdani also pitched an ambitious new housing project for New York City. He held the meeting
okay. So this, where's the YouTube? Great. Fantastic work, me. Way to go, me. Maybe I do have it over here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, this. So him, Mamdani making the fake headline, brilliant. Apparently, I didn't really think about it, but
White House to meet with Trump. While he was there, he pitched Trump on one of the biggest. My jaw dropped when I heard the story behind this picture. In a surprise meeting, Zoran Mamdani went to the White House to meet with Trump. While he was there, he pitched Trump on one of the biggest public housing projects in 50 years. How did he do this? His office made a fake New York Daily News cover with his face on it. Look at how excited he is. But that's the secret. Just put his face on shit. He's telling us he was leaving us clues the entire time. This is not real. He made this. So please, somebody
put his
print
face
this out
on
and
shit.
give it to him.
Yeah, Medicare for all. Trump, call it Trump care. It literally doesn't matter as long as we have it. Exactly. It's much better than the dumbass like Trump RX shit that they're doing right now.
I'm not even kidding at this point. What do we have to lose? But again, credit to Zoran Mamdani for somehow figuring out how to get through to this guy. My jaw dropped when I heard the story.
Yeah. Brilliant idea.
as productive and shared a photo on
Ford to city, drop dead. We can eventually rename it. Yeah, exactly. Trump to city, let's rebuild. Mac's new era of housing.
social media.
Well, you can't make him a liar.
Trump in the Oval Office
He would never
holding
lie
a
to
mock
us.
version of the New York Daily News with the headline, Trump to City, Let's Build. The mayor's office said in a news release the city is seeking some $21 billion.
Trump delivers 12,000 plus homes, most since 1973. The most ever, some would say,
In
actually.
federal grants for the housing project, which Mamdani touted as the largest housing and infrastructure investment in New York City
No one's
in more
ever
than 50
seen
years.
housing like this.
Access to affordable housing
Ever
was at the
before.
center of Mamdani's campaign. In media news, Paramount Skydance is poised to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery after Netflix
And they
declined
did.
to match Paramount's $111 billion offer. Netflix ended its bidding war shortly after CEO Ted Sarandos visited the White House on Thursday afternoon, where he met with top officials, including Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. Paramount's offer still requires regulatory approval in the U.S. and Europe. If completed, it would create the largest media conglomerate in U.S. history, spanning news, sports, movies, video games, theme parks, and more, all controlled by Paramount Chair David Ellison, a vocal supporter of President Trump. The deal would include acquiring CNN, consolidating Ellison's news empire, which already now includes CBS News. And the FBI has fired about a dozen more agents tied to the investigation into Trump's mishandling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago after he left office in 2021. The purge by FBI Director Kash Patel comes as he faces mounting criticism over his use of a government jet to travel to the Milan Olympics, where he was filmed chugging beer in the locker room with the U.S. men's hockey team.
Yeah, I can't wait for Superman, Man of Tomorrow, to be pro isolationism. Also, is there a DC equivalent to Sabra from Marvel Comics? Because we need to immediately make that movie. Is what they're going to be saying. If not, bring back Wonder Woman at least. Wonder Woman will now be the face of the DC universe. Hello, no.
After their gold medal win over Canada. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now! Co-host Juan Gonzalez in Chicago. Hi, Juan.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to all of our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube.
Right,
subscribe.
Yeah. Does this work? Audio, hello?
Say they know a spot, and they take American city planners say they know a spot.
Hell yeah.
And they take you here. Isn't it beautiful? Can you feel the freedom? Maybe more lanes will help. You ain't making it out of the trailer park, little bro. At least it's affordable, and all your cats can live with you. Or you can live here rent-free, with easy freeway access. The greatest country in the world is yours to discover. None of this fruity Europe shit either. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of profit.
Mathematics is the hidden language of the cosmos. With it, we can decipher its secrets. And in doing so, we can build great things. Design projects at a scale never seen before. What makes America great is its innovative spirit. Its commitment to building bigger and better than any other society to ever exist on this earth. We must do so at all costs. Even human life itself must not stand in the way of bringing these projects, no matter how ambitious, from the drawing board into reality. Shall Hong Fu, or whatever that talking dollar bill used to say back in the day.
American city.
Yeah. Yeah, this place is great, actually. How great? This is going on.
On disability. Had my annual physical yesterday. I'm 65 years old. I'm legally blind. I'm on disability. I went to my doc and I lost 28 pounds in the last year. I did not need to lose 28 pounds. I did not try to lose 28 pounds. I lost the 28 pounds because I cannot afford to eat anymore. Under Biden, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Under Biden, I was able to put $100 a month away for food, along with my SNAP, and I did okay. I could get fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and meat. It is just me. But now, with grocery prices so high, propane, electricity out of this world, I now only allow myself $65 a month for food.
Sharon,
$65 a month for food is crazy.
Are you on SNAP benefits?
Let me tell you, under Joe Biden, I received $80 a month for SNAP. That was taken away from me under Donald Trump. He took it away. He gave me $24 a month. I did receive that for a couple of months. Then he took it down to $12.
What are you going to do with $24? What are you going to do with $12?
$12.50 a month. I said, screw you. So I'm not doing that no more. So now I get $65 a month, Mimi, and for them people out there, all these Republicans that are doing so flippin' well right now. I have 3 potatoes. I have a half a tomato. I have 3 bananas, 1 apple, 1 can of soup, a half a loaf of bread, 1 egg, and 1 can of green beans. I do not get paid until the 3rd. I am disability blind. I cannot drive a car. I'm 15 miles out of town, so I am not able to just trot my butt down to the food shelf. I used to volunteer at the food shelf. I can't even do that anymore. I don't understand. I'd like somebody to explain to me, why is it always the poor people that are helping the poor people? I don't understand. But what I want to say, Mimi, is that it's really close to coming. Like that man said, the end is coming near, and it can't be any more true for me. I had my annual physical yesterday. I'm 65 years old. I'm legally...
Yeah, this place sucks, man. Most wealthiest nation in the world, and people are starving to death. Literally. Tens of thousands of people starve to death every single year in the United States. We put on this show that, everything's fine. Just, go buy some chicken nuggies, and you'll have a full belly. 99-cent hamburgers and everything, right? That shit doesn't exist anymore. And the food that is cheap is basically killing you. So them cutting benefits, SNAP benefits, for people is a literal death sentence. This article here that's quoted, Trump celebrates 2.4 million Americans lifted off SNAP benefits after his tax cut law slashed funding and tightened work requirements. So yeah, I mean, all this is going to do is get people killed, because of the ability to the inability to be able to afford food. What did the Chinese kill? The kill line? That checks out. That definitely checks out. We call it the poverty line, but even the poverty line is a little bit lower than it should be, because nobody really can live by themselves on $14,000 a year. When rent itself is an average of $1,400 a month, that times 12 automatically blows the budget out, right? Of the poverty line. They want you to live in the streets. They want you to either live in the streets and die, barely be able to afford rent, and also die, starve to death, or finance your entire life. Take out loans, credit cards, rack up massive amounts of debt. So not only is your life financed, but your entire future and your children's future and everybody that you know's future is financed, so that they can continue to make money off of you. Some of the new apartments around me are in my small town are $1,200. That's not bad, but it's better than the national average, but it's definitely not, with $600, $700 of what it used to be. You used to be able to afford rent, and now either you do all that, or you say, who wants to fall in love so we can afford rent. Kind of hard, kind of makes it hard to go into like the relationship scene, and look like a provider, or look like somebody that you want to be with. But the jobs are nearly 30 minutes to an hour away. That's fucked, dude. So you have to have a car. So that's another, $500 bill each month, on top of insurance, on top of gas and maintenance, and top of everything else, man. Yeah. Every hour that you drive to work, to and from work, is just an hour stolen from you. It's terrible. But hey, you know what? We got fast food. This guy This is McDonald's CEO. He tries out the big arch. He got something new for you.
So I've just seen a video of the McDonald's CEO eating a McDonald's, and it's probably the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
The big arch. This is something that we have tested already. Portugal, Germany, Canada.
We've tested it on the Germans and the Canadians, and now we believe it may even be fit for human consumption.
Love this product. It is so good.
I love to consume this product. Yeah, give me 2 burger product, please. This man does not eat McDonald's. He looks like he would try and read the ingredients on the back of a banana.
I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know.
He's making excuses as to why he's not going to eat the burger. I will allow the product to enter at a later date during my lunch. It's been tested on the Canadians. I'm not afraid of it.
Try to get this thing, I don't even know how to attack it.
The man...
Nobody holds a burger like that, bro.
Doesn't even know how to fucking hold a burger.
Yeah.
Why let him on here without any practice? He'd be less uncomfortable if he was holding the fucking nuclear codes.
It's like, let me barely bite this so you can't even see where he bit it. Hey, we serve that to our gold medal recipients at the White House. Cold too. Don't put that shit in the microwave. Make sure it's cold.
That is so good.
That will be enough of the product for me, thank you. No, seriously, I'm stuffed. I couldn't eat another slight touch of the lips. The burger is the exact same fucking shape. It's lost less weight than me since I did my New Year's resolution, which I genuinely didn't think was possible. Anyway, that's enough of the product for both of us. Follow me. I'm delicious.
I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch, but Big Arch, try it when you can get it.
He's like, get this taste out of my fucking mouth right now. He's throwing up for you. He's like, we sell this? Oh my god, these people are animals. Who eats this? Disgusting. Oh yeah, but don't worry. RFK is gonna save us. What the fuck's going on? I thought this was... I saw this video and I was like, oh, that's funny because, you know, it's satire, but it's not satire. It's a real video they posted on his account.
Secretary Kennedy action figure. Introducing the Secretary Kennedy action figure. With chronic disease running rampant, President Trump is sending one man.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Watch out! Red 40 is in your kid's lunch. Quick, increase your strength with real whole milk.
Wow, it's full of protein and healthy fats.
And ban...
They're still on the milk thing from like the 90s, man.
And Red 40 to the trash.
Take that.
Oh no, a peregrine falcon is stuck in the river. Quick, swap into your denim jeans and jump in.
Wow, waterproof jeans.
Oh no, the food pyramid puts Fruit Loops at the top.
My message is clear. Eat real food.
Flip the pyramid to put the real food we need on top. Bring home the full Maha playset today with limited edition Iron Mike Tyson.
Eat real food or else.
Accessories sold separately. Batteries not included. Get active and eat real food.
You know, never wanted to be Sid from Toy Story. Harder,
with chronic disease running rampant, President Trump is sending one man.
Yeah. I don't. A little bit more on Mamdani. He's popular.
Zoran Mamdani, I mean, my goodness gracious, he likes popular politicians. Here's a popular politician for you. Take a look here. Mamdani's net favorable rating in New York City in September of 2025, plus 14 points. December of 2025, plus 38. Now look at this.
Plus 48, dude.
Points. A more popular mayor to start off than either of his two Democratic predecessors, either Eric Adams or Bill de Blasio.
What's it going to be?
Most popular
what's it going to be in a year? Plus 148? Like what?
Democrat in New York City in a generation, and President Trump, who likes to get on board with popular politicians, is getting on board right now with this guy.
Getting on board with this guy. Okay, so what about statewide?
Yeah.
What are we seeing statewide?
Okay, so you know what? A lot of Republicans are like, oh, we're going to run statewide in New York and run against Zoran Mamdani. There's a slight problem with that, and that is Zoran Mamdani isn't just popular in New York City. He's actually the most popular Democrat statewide. Take a look at this. Net favorable of New York City.
Oh,
New York
Chucky,
Democrat
what
statewide.
happened?
Look at this. Zoran Mamdani with a positive net favorable rating of plus 16 points. More popular than Kristen Gillibrand at plus 12, more popular than Kathy Hochul at plus 9, more popular than Chuck Schumer at minus 7. The bottom line is this. Zohran Mamdani is the...
Nobody will vote for an African Muslim in this country, man. Are they crazy?
Most popular Democrat in the state
Amazing
of New York.
how that
right now, Republicans are not going to be able to run against him in the midterms.
That phrase just,
because the
doesn't
bottom
work,
line is this. He's popular not just in his home state, but he's popular in New York State as well.
Okay, but what about the popularity with the president?
Sounds like
what
we need more
President Trump
establishment
seems to
Dems,
like
yeah.
about him?
Yeah, okay. So I think what he likes about him is the fact that he is very much the type of politician who is able to attract the media attention in the same way while sticking with what he believes is right? You know, Donald Trump has always been this type of politician who goes out there, says a whole heck of a lot of things, but then is still able to maintain his base. And Zohran Mamdani is the type of guy who's been able to bring in President Trump, but also has basically been sticking to his campaign platform. I mean, take a look at this. Chance Mamdani.
You mean he's not just saying stuff just to say it?
Look at
That's
this.
crazy.
According to the prediction markets, the Kalshi prediction market this year, there's still an 81% chance that Zohran Mamdani actually freezes the rent. So he is maintaining his popularity citywide. You see him right here. It's been going up like a rocket. He is maintaining, in fact, being the most popular Democrat in the state of New York right here, plus 16 points. And he is doing so while also at this point looking like he is going to actually keep that big campaign promise of freezing the rent. At this point, as I said, President Trump isn't the only one who has the vapors.
Because the rent's too damn high.
New Yorkers have the vapors about Zohran Mamdani as well, as he is sticking to his quite progressive platform.
Harry Anton, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what? This radical progressivism, socialism stuff, I don't think it's gonna work. We need somebody to get in there with a message like I support Israel. Can we get those guys back in office, please? Oh yeah, here's Killary. Sorry. More on Killary.
We begin tonight here with the breaking news. Just moments ago, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton emerging, walking up to the podium following more than 6 hours of her testimony before the House panel investigating Jeffrey Epstein. Just a short time ago, Secretary
What happened
Clinton
to the establishment Democrats? Why are they testifying
she
about
urged
the
the committee
Epstein
to make the hearing public so the American people could see her full answers to every question. They did not agree to it. In her opening remarks to the committee, Secretary Clinton saying if the committee is, quote, serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would ask President Trump directly under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. Mrs. Clinton accusing Republicans of protecting, quote, one political party and one public official. Rachel Scott leading us off from where the hearing was held.
Was that her strategy the whole time? Is like, yeah, we'll go up and answer some questions, but why don't you ask that guy? Why aren't you asking that guy? That was it? That was your strategy? I don't know Epstein, and why don't you ask that guy? Like, man.
On New York tonight.
Tonight, a defiant Hillary Clinton testifying for hours before the Republican-led House Oversight Committee investigating sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island.
We don't believe
his
you.
Homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times.
The former Secretary of State, Senator, and First Lady denouncing the hearing as partisan political theater, calling it an abdication.
Oh, come on, dude. What's going on with this computer, man? Computer's so slow. Get out of here.
Of duty and an insult to the American people. In a blistering opening statement, Clinton insisting she and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, were being forced to testify to distract attention from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. And then she sat for hours of questions.
It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself.
Though they would not let Clinton testify in public, Republicans still looking for a political advantage.
Why did you send the picture? Why not?
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert secretly snapping this picture, sharing it with conservative influencer Benny Johnson, who then posted it online. The hearing briefly pausing before it resumed.
One of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements.
Republican Chairman James Comer adding this.
The number of times that she said
I don't know. You'll have to ask my husband. Was more than a dozen.
Republicans were pushed to explain why they called Clinton to testify at all.
And we're not accusing Hillary Clinton of wrongdoing. We know that Jeffrey Epstein said many times in emails that he was the first person to raise money for the Clinton initiative. And again, that's not saying anything's illegal, but there are a lot of questions pertaining to Secretary Clinton.
But Republicans have refused to call President Trump to testify, despite his long friendship with Epstein. Clinton today making light of some of the questions they asked her.
It seems like the Epstein class isn't just, the pedophiles themselves, but also funded by the pedophiles, right?
Then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs.
Clinton saying if the committee is serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would not rely on press gaggles to get answers from our current president on his involvement. It would ask him directly, under oath, about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files.
We know he's in the Epstein
Former President
files.
Bill Clinton will testify behind closed doors here tomorrow. Republicans on the committee say the American public will soon see videos of these depositions, and Democrats are calling for the transcripts to be released in the next 24 hours, David.
All right, Rachel Scott leading us off from Chappaqua, New York tonight. Rachel, thank you.
Clinton getting charged at all? Any of them? No, nobody? Nothing? Fucking wasted. All right. Who's ready to die for Israel? Get into it. Will it pop off this weekend? What's the Kalshi saying?
The Laurel and Hardy negotiating team of Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, coupled with Trump's appalling ignorance of world affairs and megalomania, seems set to push the United States into yet another debacle in the Middle East, one that Congress has not approved and the public does not support. The demands imposed on Iran by the Trump White House are no more acceptable to the regime in Tehran than those imposed on Hamas in Gaza under Trump's sham peace plan. Trump's demand that Iran shut down its nuclear program and give up its missile capabilities in return for no new sanctions is as tone-deaf as calling on Hamas to disarm. But since we have long dispensed with diplomats who are linguistically, politically, and culturally literate, who can step into the shoes of their adversaries, we are being led to another war in the Middle East by our newest coterie of buffoons. The U.S. and Israel foolishly believe they can bomb their way to decapitating the Iranian government and installing a client regime, that this non-reality-based belief system failed in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Libya eludes them. The promise of no new sanctions will not incentivize Iran to broker an agreement. Iran is already crippled by onerous sanctions that have gutted its economy. This will do nothing to break the economic stranglehold. Iran will not give up its nuclear program, which has the potential to be weaponized, or its ballistic missile program, which Israel said it would target in an air attack. Israel's reputed nuclear arsenal of some 300 warheads is a powerful incentive for Iran to retain the capacity to build a nuclear arsenal of its own. Iran, like Hamas, is never going to render itself defenseless against those seeking its annihilation. An aerial attack on Iran will not be like the 12-day assault last June against Iran's nuclear facilities and state and security facilities. Then Iran calibrated its response with symbolic strikes on an airbase in Qatar in the hopes that it would not lead to a wider, protracted conflict. If an aerial assault is launched, Iran will have nothing to lose. It will understand that appeasing its adversaries is impossible. Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran is not Libya. Iran is not Lebanon. Iran is not Syria. Iran is not Yemen. Iran is the 17th largest country in the world with a landmass equivalent to the size of Western Europe. It has a population of almost 90 million, 10 times greater than Israel, and its military resources, as well as alliances with China and Russia, make it a formidable opponent. Despite Iran's relative military weakness when set against the combined forces of the U.S. and Israel, it can inflict a lot of damage. It will do this as swiftly as possible. Hundreds of American troops will likely be killed. Iran will certainly shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important oil checkpoint that facilitates the passage of 20% of the world's oil supply. This will double or triple the price of oil and devastate the global economy. It will target oil installations along with U.S. ships and military bases in the region. Mounting losses and a huge spike in oil prices will provide the fodder for Trump and his vile counterpart in Israel to ignite a sustained regional war. This is the cost of being governed by imbeciles. God help us.
Well said. Are we cooked? Yes. We pretty much are cooked. Yeah. Oh, but the Navy.
Aircraft carrier that they have. You guys remember when they said that the aircraft carrier that they have outside of Iran was having plumbing issues, so they had to like hold off on operations for a while? They had like 4-hour lines to use the restroom, took like 45 minutes to flush the toilet, all that. Well, the plumbers went to go check it out, and they came back and they were like, yeah, the reason why there's plumbing issues is because there's a bunch of improper materials inside of the pipes. And apparently someone has been flushing a bunch of t-shirts and other things like that into the pipes.
What?
So obviously our own military
who's eating t-shirts and pooping them into the toilet? That's crazy.
personnel is sabotaging strikes in Iran. The thing that's so interesting about this, you guys, is that we are the ones that make all of this shit happen, right? We don't realize it. We think we have to take orders and shit like that, but we're the ones that make this all happen. The only way that a war can happen is if you go out and you decide to comply with that, right? And this is what we call, well, maybe malicious compliance? Somehow, some way, right? You guys have to remember the power you have with your labor, because they're not going to do it themselves. They're always going to send you in to do their dirty work.
Yeah, why do they always send the poor?
Don't comply in advance. And if you do, make sure it's malicious compliance.
Yeah, frag, but make it cost more. Why war with Iran is unlikely? Tell me about it. Deep dive defense. Yeah, hurt that shareholder value, always.
In the middle of the massive ongoing psychological warfare operation regarding an imminent United States attack on Iran, in this video, we will attempt to find out about the likelihood of such an attack and what could be realistically achieved, taking into account Iran's potential responses. Contrary to what is now mainstream belief in the media and internet sphere, this video will present a different picture of the situation, one grounded in realist facts rather than simplistic, intuitive narratives. Like and subscribe if you want to support the channel in the algorithm. Now let's start. This video is the second one of a series examining the ongoing Iran-US crisis of early 2026. In the first part, linked above, we examined the geostrategic aspects of the crisis. In this video, however, we will analyze the military tactical dimension and balance between the United States and Iran. The situation is complicated by the dominance the United States side holds over the social media landscape, coupled with Iran's far inferior ability to convey its perspective to the world. Adding to this complexity is the madman policy of US President Trump, which creates an ambiguous condition in which apparently no one clearly knows what he intends to do. This intentional ambiguity only increases the difficulty of reaching a realistic perspective on the situation and the true balance of power.
You know, I've said this before, but like, we could be using this technology, man, to like launch things into orbit that are actually beneficial to the human race, to you know, humanity, just all around. You know, launching like at hypersonic speeds to the moon. You know, building a moon base or whatever. You know, whatever ambitions you want to think of. We're using the technology to bomb each other. So disappointing.
The key question revolves around the capabilities the US possesses against Iran. Is it capable of carrying out a clean military campaign that would severely degrade Iran's military potential, or even topple its government? Or is the situation entirely the opposite? Namely, a posture of force that any nation in the midst of critical negotiations would utilize to improve its bargaining position. US President Trump did, in fact, carry out a spectacular, clean-cut military operation a short while before the Iran-US crisis by capturing Venezuelan President Maduro with special operations forces. This event had a significant impact on the narrative the United States projects to people around the world regarding its capabilities.
Why war with Iran is unlikely, but also, you know, who's ready to die for Iran?
Suggesting they cannot be matched by
I mean,
any
for Israel, not for Iran.
In the Venezuelan crisis, the United States president also warned his opponent to basically accept the conditions dictated to it. The United States narrative now seeks to apply the same framework to Iran, which is in the midst of negotiations with the US side. However, the truth is that although this would work against 95% of the nations, the operation against Venezuela is by no means applicable to Iran. Iran is a major military power, one certain to fight back with massive firepower, a capability that nations like Venezuela almost entirely lack. Furthermore, Iran's leadership is situated in the capital city of Tehran, while Venezuela's capital, Caracas, is a coastal city. This geography means that the Earth's curvature would block detection of any incoming adversary heliborne force at just about 40 kilometers out at sea. This specific situation enabled a quick surprise operation with very low warning time for the Venezuelans. Reaching Tehran, however, is an entirely different matter, and warning would certainly arrive much more quickly to the Iranian leadership, allowing it to defend against such a heliborne Special Operations Forces scenario. During the 12-day conflict in summer 2025, Israel did employ unique capabilities, such as low-signature, air-launched aeroballistic missiles, to surprise Iran and kill several of its key military leaders. Compared to that, the United States lacks such a prompt reaction weapon as the Israeli Golden Horizon missile, a video about it linked above. The only weapon the United States is currently known to possess that has a sufficiently low time of arrival and high speed is the Dark Eagle hypersonic surface-to-surface missile. And just as Israeli and United States missile defenses were unable to intercept Iran's aeroballistic and hypersonic missile types during the 12-day conflict, Iran also possesses no viable means to intercept a weapon like the Dark Eagle. Now, the reality is that the Dark Eagle is currently deployed in very low numbers, as it is an extremely expensive weapon system. However, as happened during the 12-day conflict between Iran and Israel, the attacker always seeks to create the impression of having penetrated the heaviest defended regions of the opponent, namely its capital city. Such a shocking effect can then be used to demoralize the population by employing psychological operations narratives. For instance, claiming to have instantly gained air superiority over the opponent, and using the impact of rare high-end assets like the Dark Eagle or Golden Horizon as proof of that claim. The following point must be stressed. Common narratives promoted by President Trump regarding air power assets like the low observable B-2 bomber being able to perform a similar
Dark
type
Eagle,
of prompt strike
the
mission
world's stupidest names
disinformation.
for violence.
Such assets possess neither the necessary speed nor a sufficiently undetectable signature to function as a prompt attack type shock weapon. A prolonged air defense suppression campaign would be needed for a F-35 or B-2 to make it to Tehran.
Israel also has the
Against
Rampage
Venezuela,
missile.
The proximity of the coastal city of Caracas to the sea meant that even subsonic cruise missiles like the GAZA could arrive at their targets quickly enough to enable a surprise attack condition. But as powerful as a cruise missile like the GAZA is, it is not a prompt reaction type weapon and would need to fly for prolonged periods inside Iranian airspace to reach its
not
target.
impressed.
Any indication of it flying toward Tehran, such as simply the sound of it being heard by a local person with a mobile phone, could destroy the element of surprise and allow the leadership to disperse or relocate to safe locations. Hence, this addresses the matter of US capabilities to conduct a decapitation strike that would quickly eliminate Tehran's leadership, the kind of simplistic, elegant campaign envisioned in the minds of supporters of a United States intervention. Concepts such as the US president's claimed discombobulator, or near magical capabilities in electronic warfare, as well as EMP weapons that would disable Iran's military equipment from great distances, can be sorted into the category of psychological operation myths propagated by the US. Yes, each of these capabilities may exist and are indeed impressive, but they have significant limitations, and Iran has certainly become familiar with them in the course of the 12-day conflict with Israel, which was granted full support by US non-kinetic military capabilities, missile defense interceptors excluded. So now, let us move further from the shock and surprise element the United States military is capable of, and assess the real tactical military dimension of a serious military campaign. Here, it must be stated that the events of the last years have clearly disincentivized US allies in the Middle East from supporting a military intervention against Iran. The backlash these countries would face in such a conflict has led to a situation in which they have denied the United States the use of the several massive bases they possess in Arab countries, particularly in the Persian Gulf, but also Turkey. Even the United Kingdom has now denied the use of its overseas territory, Diego Garcia Island, for military operations against Iran. This indicates that there are compelling reasons for all these countries to avoid any involvement whatsoever in an aggression against a nation possessing retaliation capabilities like those of Iran. This particular factor alone is so significant in the analysis of the Iran crisis that it can independently determine whether the potential for an attack is realistic or not. Militarily, the distance of an airbase from the targeted country is of greatest importance. Tactical fighter jets carrying heavy weapons have a quite limited range. If those key US regional bases, located approximately 300 to 500 kilometers from Iran, cannot be operated from, the sortie rate that US air power can generate collapses dramatically. Even if tanker aircraft are employed to extend range and enable operations from air bases such as those in Israel, the cycle time required for each sortie increases substantially. As a result, the firepower that United States tactical air power can project toward Iran becomes greatly reduced. Currently, only Jordan has permitted US air power to use its territory for defensive air operations. This means that, instead of being allowed to fly strike missions against Iran, the fighters stationed there are restricted to patrol and interception operations, specifically to intercept Iranian one-way attack drones and long-range land attack cruise missiles.
We'll have to learn how to check Polymarket for updates on planned military action.
Would involve flying all air power assets out of the regional bases,
at this point,
Jordan,
you know,
and stationing them at a large, distant Israeli airbase.
Imperialism and capitalism, you know, they're like this, right?
Aircraft that would enable fighters to reach Iran from Israel would then need to be stationed.
If there's enough money, if there was enough money bet on war with Iran, would somebody that was highly invested in the military-industrial complex make it happen so that they could win? And is that also insider trading?
Only at rather secure locations such as Cyprus and Greece. I am referring here to the bulk of the military power the United States has deployed to the Middle East. There are bases in Syria and Iraqi Kurdistan that could also be utilized for lower-tier assets such as helicopters. However, it is almost certain that these bases, positioned closer to Iran, would be heavily targeted.
Yes, they will be heavily targeted. They'll be obliterated.
Which would drastically reduce any
Hundreds of U.S. soldiers will die if this happens.
The frequently reported air power deployments by the U.S. are fewer than most people think. They have still not reached levels anywhere near those used in Operation Iraqi Freedom or even Desert Storm.
If Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq can kill, what was it, 3 soldiers
and
that
Iraq
they killed?
Had been essentially under siege for 12 years
with one drone?
To the final U.S. attack. There exists a compelling argument from the U.S. side that its intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities of the current
It doesn't sound good for everybody else in the area.
Allow for a much more efficient use of its available firepower. This, it is claimed, makes massive force deployments on the scale of Desert Storm unnecessary today, especially given that no ground campaign is planned. This is, to some degree, true. Iran observed the low cycle time the Israelis, supported by United States intelligence, required from detection to initiation of attack, operating within mere minutes. The enhanced identification capabilities enabled by artificial intelligence today alone make a significant difference. The analysis of big data from all available sensors, fused together to automatically identify critical threats, namely missile launch vehicles disguised as civilian trucks, is certainly a serious threat to Iran. However, this conclusion is a false one, because it rests on the assumption that while the United States has made these intelligence and communication advances in recent decades, Iran has not improved parameters such as the time required for setting up a missile, launching it, and moving back into hiding, or reducing missile launcher cost and quantity, or altogether different basing methods, such as cavern launch-equipped missile cities. Moreover, low footprint and hardly detectable deployment signature assets like the Shahed 236 drone have drastically changed the way long-distance strikes can be performed at very low cost and in very high quantities. During the previous conflicts with Israel, Iran merely used its one-way attack drones and cruise missiles to reduce the air power resources Israel could commit to striking Iran. But this time, the situation would be very different. Mass launches of drones at a later phase would certainly occur when ballistic missiles have already degraded air defenses and disrupted air power operations. The next point we will examine is the U.S. Navy, which has now brought 2 carrier strike groups to the Middle East region.
That's a huge target.
One is operating at a distance of several hundred kilometers from Iran in the Arabian Sea, while the other is almost certainly intended to provide defensive support to Israel.
What are the odds that we lose an aircraft carrier?
Aegis destroyers as ballistic missile defense ships and its carrier-based fighters for interception of the aforementioned Iranian drones and cruise missiles. This deployment is absolutely not comparable to what the U.S. deployed in its campaigns against Iraq, where approximately half of the around 10 U.S. aircraft carriers were positioned within close striking range of Iraq. In 2026, by contrast, it is essentially just the Lincoln Strike Group that could potentially reach southern Iran, and even that would require in-flight refueling. This distance to Iran, and the fact that operating out of the Persian Gulf is not even being contemplated, is due to Iran's upper-tier anti-shipping capabilities. These come in the form of anti-ship aeroballistic missiles, a unique capability that only very few nations in the world possess at such extended ranges as 2,000 kilometers. The Lincoln is essentially tasked only with making the closure of the Strait of Hormuz more difficult for Iran, should such an escalation level ever be reached. The limited aircraft launch rates of a carrier and the range limitations of the F/A-18 Super Hornet mean that this asset alone would have only minor impacts on any military campaign. A much greater impact would be made by Israeli participation in such a U.S. attack scenario. Striking Israel is the first and lowest escalation step.
Wonder what the fallout would be if we lost any form of craft or equipment.
Arab Emirates, or even feeling the need to close the Strait of Hormuz.
It's gonna be...
However, as demonstrated during the 12-day conflict last summer,
they've already said that they're gonna attack bases.
To generate against distant Iran remains limited.
I don't know if they start sinking ships, because they're definitely going to be capable of that. They definitely are capable of that. They would have to do that immediately.
Had a significant impact against Iranian soft targets during last summer's conflict.
What do you do? Do you death by 1,000 cuts, or you know, just get it over with and you know, so bring it on?
The effects of the summer campaign are also not directly applicable to a renewed conflict today. Israel expended much of its covert sabotage assets, which had been smuggled into Iran over decades.
Which would kick off.
This advantage is now essentially burned.
A lot of events in the world.
Israel also employed massive numbers of its sophisticated standoff weapons, which are expensive and require long production cycles.
Let's say it does happen, right? Well, let's say the U.S. is gearing up in the middle of the night, gearing up to go invade Iran or bomb Iran, not necessarily invade, right?
Air bases on a much larger scale, involving the activation of missile assets that Iran did not employ during the 12-day conflict.
But yeah, like let's say that it does happen. They sink a ship, and then
those in the border regions, as well as missiles like the Khorram Sharp.
Then the next step is going to be just, you know, enticing. It would entice the United States to go even further.
Used back then. Indeed, last summer, Iran did not perceive the firepower Israel generated against it as significant enough to warrant escalation to a higher level. The mere threat that Iran would transform the conflict into a war of attrition was sufficient to compel Israel to convince U.S. President Trump to request a ceasefire from Iran. In that conflict,
And then,
Iran's
I mean,
Islamic
if that was to
Revolutionary Guard
continue,
Corps Navy
like, let's say
played no
that does
role.
continue, right?
But this would be very different in the case of a U.S. aggression.
U.S.
Much of the
aggression would
US
only be
military
amplified, right?
resources would need to be invested in countering the IRGC Navy
Here, let
to
me give you
prevent
a
giving Iran the
timeout.
option of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Furthermore, during the Iran-Israel conflict last summer, Iran's allies in Iraq, Lebanon's Hezbollah, and most importantly Yemen's Ansarallah did not participate, as there was no need for such support from an Iranian perspective. However, the situation would be profoundly different if the United States decided to attack Iran. This time, all of these Iranian allies would become involved,
Anyway.
in addition to Iran's naval
Yeah.
forces.
Everybody else would be
unlocking an
involved. It would
entirely
kick off
different set of
Hezbollah
capabilities
against,
that were absent
you
last
know,
summer.
Israel. I think they've
Especially
had enough.
Ansarallah's control of the Bab al-Mandab maritime
At that
choke
point,
point could basically escalate
you know,
the
what
conflict
happens
to
with
a serious
Israel?
regional
What
war
happens with the
with
U.S.
massive
Navy?
impact on world economy.
Do we start sending hundreds of thousands of troops
Hence,
that way?
overall, we
to
are
do a
confronted
ground
with a
invasion
situation that can be described
well,
as
what's
having a probable
that's going to be the
outcome,
next
not much
10,
different
20
from the
years.
12-day conflict.
U.S.
force deployments
We're going to
are
be spread
insufficient for a
thin.
larger
All of our
military
resources
campaign,
will be used
and the
up. What
inability
happens to
use nearby
Ukraine?
bases for
What
operations
happens to
against
Taiwan?
Iran means that their projected
what
firepower
happens to
is
all of our
drastically
vested
reduced.
interests around the world?
When this reality is viewed alongside the potential involvement of Iran's naval forces and its allies, a picture emerges that is far from the overmatched condition the United States and Israel would require to effectively handle an opponent like Iran.
All right, guys, I got a new
What
toy
this scenario much more
in,
closely
so
resembles
I need to take
is a
care of
defensive
this.
posture, one designed to raise
I'll
the
be back
cost
later,
of an
later
Iranian
tonight.
revenge attack against Israel, rather than
All
the
right,
other
everybody
way
have a good
around.
one.
U.S. air
We'll
power
see,
deployment
we'll-
would be utilized
I'll
to
be on tonight 'cause I
neutralize
wanna
the
see what
threat
happens
posed by
here.
Iranian drones and cruise missiles, while it's
All right, yeah, where's my thing? Yeah, here's a little.
Glock in my back pocket, what you waiting for, ho? 666 for life, got the psycho with the best, ho. Always on the drug shit, waking up drunk. I admit, I've been lost for a little bit, yeah. Glock in my back pocket, what you waiting for, ho? 666 for life, got the psycho with the best, ho. Always on the drug shit, waking up drunk. I admit, I've been lost for a little bit, yeah. Has been here, there, everywhere, yeah. Building up my pathway, straight into the hell gates. If I was to die tonight, would you be my kryptonite? Would you stay up for a night, thinking about my past life? Would you stay up thinking about all of the sins we did? Every one of me seems to wanna switch on me, yeah. So I find it hard to trust, even if I'm in love, I still feel numb, yeah. Still feel numb, all the crimes that I've done still lurk in my head, yeah. Always on the bad trips, going down the back roads, filling up my soul with the polar white ice snow. Catch me in the night in a blacked out Benz, bro, yeah.